And welcome back to another episode of Beyond the End Zone. I am Nathan Lee. I'm so glad all of you could join me. Oh, we got 12 people already in the show. Thank y'all so much. Obviously, what a crazy week in college football. I mean, Mississippi State, they pull off the crazy upset. Ole Miss, that was a dogfight. That was a dogfight early on. A couple mistakes early on kept the Kentucky Wildcats in that one. And then obviously we had our in-state matchup, Jackson State, Southern Miss. But we're going to talk about all of that and plenty more as well. But thank y'all as well, as always, actually, for joining us. This is going to be a good episode. I'm excited to keep this thing rolling. But without further ado, let's get right into this. We got to talk about it right now. We're going to recap it in depth. But I could not imagine what it was like to be out there in Starkville this weekend, y'all. I cannot believe it, especially after what was said by Arizona State's coach before that game, talking about Starkville being a small town. I know the fans love to get that one, not for the university, not just for all this, but, for the history, everything that's been going on out there at Mississippi State, especially with this football team. It's really special to see them back kind of on top right now. I mean, they were the story of the weekend, in my opinion, when it comes to college football. Very impressive for the Bulldogs. And then obviously, like I said, the Rebels, early comeback, obviously, against the Kentucky Wildcats. But let's get right into this. Obviously, we're going to talk about all those incredible games from college football, as well as the Saints. We're going to hit on them as well in their season opener, a hard-fought game. They could not pull it off at the end. But without further ado, we're going to get into some high school football. This is a big one, y'all. This our game of the week. We have the Clinton Arrows traveling out to Brandon to take on the Bulldogs. Clinton coming to this one 2-0. Brandon, after their week 1 loss to Tupelo, they come in and get a good win against Madison Central last week. Hard fought, 17-7. So wasn't a big scoring game. Obviously, we talk about Brandon. We think about that offense, but the defense really showed up. And I think the defense on both sides of the ball in this game are going to be the story of this game. In high school, we don't have those over-unders, but I'm going to bet the under on this one because these defenses are just so special. But let's get right into it. Obviously, we have the Clinton Arrows first. That's where we're going to get started here. Clinton, what a team. Like I said, they've been really good so far. Very impressive start, getting a dominant season opener win against Warren Central, winning that one 45-13. Then they grabbed a gritty defensive win last Friday against Northwest Rankin, another great team right here near the area, winning that one just 19-11. And that was the defense. The story of this team, the turnovers they have forced so far this year. It's unbelievable. I didn't realize this. I knew they had some turnovers, but I didn't realize it was this much. 9 turnovers already this season for this defense for the Clinton Arrows. Unbelievable. Last week, 6 turnovers against Northwest Rankin. That's just unbelievable. Look at the defense. Y'all love to see that sign right when I'm talking about it. But that is the story of this game or story of this team so far. Can the Clinton Arrows offense start to pick it up here? I like to say that they can, because what we've seen, obviously, against a Warren Central team, Warren Central got a great win last week, a 28-0 win against Pearl. This week, can they get that offense rolling? Obviously, only 19 points last week. Can they get the offense rolling? The defense is the story for this team as they keep on moving along. But what about the Brandon Bulldogs? Now, this is a team right here, right, coming into the season. You're taking on Tupelo, the 7A champs, the team you lost to in the championship Obviously, that week 1 game did not go their way, losing that one to the defending champs, like I said. But then last week, this is some of those highlights. Madison Central actually started out. These are some of the Madison Central highlights right now, because early on, Madison Central had some big plays getting into the end zone on the next play right here. But Brandon was able to get their defense rolling in this one. And that's really what held. That was the only score for Madison Central right there, holding them to just 7 points. But how does this offense shape out? This is an offense that, when you think of the Brandon Bulldogs, you think offense. That's what you think. Obviously, we got a new head coach in there. How have things changed with Lance Pogue? But for me, how does this offense fare? Now, I did not get this fully confirmed with the school, but I've been seeing reports on Twitter as well as online. Brandon's highly touted running back 4-star Tyson Robinson may miss this game. Now, like I said, that is not a confirmed from the school itself, but I have seen some reports about that, so we might not see him in this game. Obviously, Tyson Robinson is a big factor into this offense and his running ability, but they got a lot of talent right behind them in that running back room. Obviously, the receivers, the quarterback, they can throw the ball around the yard. I'm very excited, but this is your game of the week, and we got plenty of other games that you can tune into our End Zone show. Like I said on Friday nights, don't forget to tune in, 10 o'clock. That's when we're going to go through all of our games. We got a big slate of games. It's an away week, so we got a lot of teams that are traveling, but we're going to make our travels out to get some of these big games for y'all. But one thing I gotta point out here, y'all, this guy right here, this guy, player of the week. Now, if you watched it on Sunday, our Saturday show, you would have seen who our player of the week, but I gotta show y'all again. This guy right here, unbelievable. MRA's Colson O'Kane. He showed up. He showed up in a big way. Now, it was not an easy choice. You look through all these stats from all these players throughout the state, and you're like, dang, he had an incredible dang. But this guy, it's hard not to take notice. I mean, he finished with 14 carries, 140 yards on the ground, and then he found the end zone not once, not twice, but 5 times. An MRA's win over Hartfield Academy, winning that one 49-21. That is your player of the week. I had to give him some love because, man, that was an impressive performance. Now, one guy that we were not able to get highlights of because of the area that they're in, Senatoba. Now, I saw this stat line. I almost didn't believe it at first, but it is true. This was unbelievable. I just got to give him a shout out. Davion Watson for Senatoba. Unreal game. Now, if my sports fans out there, Derrick Henry, you've probably seen his high school or stats, This is reminiscent of that. 20 carries, 413 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a big win, 48-32 for Senatoba over New Albany. Now, that's not in our area, but I had to give, some love to that guy because that was just unbelievable performance. When I saw it, literally, like I said, I didn't know if I could believe it. 400 yards, that's unreal. And it was a good game, 48-32. So it looks like they needed pretty much all of that. But another thing in local news here, now this is something that you'll be seeing on our WLBT broadcasts in the coming weeks at least. Big news from Millsaps. I wanted to bring this to y'all today. Millsaps announced it's the first university in the state to offer women's flag football as a varsity sport. This is, like I said, we'll have more coming in the weeks. We're going to talk to the school. I've reached out already, but this is what a moment in history. We've talked about the flag football and the surge it's taking, especially in the youth. It's going to be in the Olympics. I mean, this is an awesome opportunity for some young ladies out there at Millsaps. And hopefully throughout the state, as we see more universities implement this flag football as a varsity sport for these ladies, it's a great time. I love to see this. Flag football is really, really, some people might say, I don't know if I want to watch it. Give it a chance. Just give it a chance. It's actually really cool. And it's an opportunity. That's what I like to see. More sporting opportunities for students, throughout the country, hopefully at some point. And I think this is just going to continue to grow, especially once we get to the Olympics and we get to see it and see all these teams or countries representing and competing on the field. I think it's going to be really cool. But that's all for some local, especially around here. But we're going to stick around in the state because, man, what a game. What a game. The Mississippi State Bulldogs. Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? This right here, y'all, this was an unbelievable game. I mean, Excuse me, y'all. Yeah, this was just an unbelievable game, y'all. Mississippi State taking on Arizona State, the formerly ranked 12th ranked Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, this was a crazy game, right? I mean, I know if y'all are watching like me, I was glued to the TV because I had to see how this one was going to play out, right? Coming into it, right? Some people giving them a chance, the Bulldogs a chance, 6.5-point underdogs going into this game. Some people thought that was a little low, right? I was over here on the side of Arizona State. This team's got experience. I know they lost at Camp Scattaboo. Are they going to come out and just, show that they are a former playoff team? Well, Mississippi State came out and showed that they are a team that the SEC teams are going to have to keep an eye on. 17-point lead at the beginning of this game. It was almost, it was unbelievable to watch it at first. I mean, this offense was rolling. Look at this was one of my favorite passes of the day. Probably my favorite pass, even though it wasn't the biggest pass of the day by Blake Shapen. That it was a beauty. You love to see this offense for the Mississippi State Bulldogs really just come out with the foot on the gas. That's the biggest takeaway for me. How are they going to come out and play this game at home? I mean, come on. That environment, when you can give them a big win like that, Davis Wade Stadium, how are they going to come out? They came out super, super hot in this game, and that was just so impressive to see for me. But how are they going to respond, right? They go up 17-0, and then right before the half, Arizona State kicks a field goal, cuts into that lead, right? Everyone's still feeling pretty good for Mississippi State. We're on upset alert. Everyone's talking about it, right? And then 20 unanswered points after that field goal included 20 unanswered points for the Arizona State Sun Devils. We get into less than a minute left in this game. They take a lead. Everyone's thinking, oh, my goodness, this is another tough loss for the Bulldogs. But Blake Shapen said, no. I'm not done today. He was unbelievable in that game, finished 19 of 33 for 279 yards and those 3 touchdowns. Every single one of those were just massive, big plays by Shapen, literally big plays. Like the first drive, big play to Brennan Thompson. Later in that one, obviously, you saw the big play that we just saw on your screen. And then, obviously, the play of the game. And I think the play of the week, what a play to Brennan Thompson. I've talked about Brennan Thompson. He was an incredible SEC Media Days, a guy that coming into the university as a transfer, and he's already, being respected as a leader, right? I mean, this guy hadn't played a snap for the Bulldogs, and he's a representative of SEC Media Days, and he's showing it with his talent on the field especially. I mean, this guy, I don't care what anybody says, just watch him play. He is one of the fastest players in the country, in my opinion. He's a game breaker. I mean, that's just who he is. He really showed up and showed out. Now, this was the one part of this game, right? Everyone looks at the box score after the game. How did the box score look? Usually that's going to tell you who won this game. If you don't look at the score, look at the box score, right? One of the biggest things is the run game. Look at the run game in this one, and it's completely – you would look at it and say, oh, Arizona State dominated this game. They finished Arizona State 251 yards on the ground, while Mississippi State only had 66 on the ground. That's unreal, right? For a team to only have 66 yards on the ground in general to win a game, but to allow 251 on the other side and still win. I mean, that's unbelievable. That just shows that anyone can win, right? There's philosophies to win in football. Now, is this a way to win every single game? I do not believe so. It's going to be real hard if you can't stop the run to continue to build up on these wins. But look at that. I mean, that's just that. I saw that stat line on Twitter, and I said, huh? Like, it was one of the analysts out there, and he said, look at the box score. You would think Arizona State won this game. That's not the case. Now Mississippi State having an opportunity here, two games now that are winnable, Alcorn State, and then you get Northern Illinois. This is a team that had 55 votes in the AP poll. They didn't make the top 25, but you win these 2 games, you're going to that Tennessee game possibly ranked. That's what a turnaround for this Mississippi State Bulldogs team from last year to this year. Obviously, super early in the year, only 2 wins under their belt. But man, I was talking about how if you could come out of these first 4 games feeling good, 3-1, a 2-2, you're feeling really good. But now an opportunity to go 4-0 heading into that Tennessee game. Woo! Can't wait to see it. All right, let's keep this thing rolling now. We're gonna talk about the Ole Miss Rebels. I kind of highlighted how this one started early on. I mean, this is the early on here. Austin Simmons, he's going to throw a pick, and that was not his only one. The 2 picks early on for Austin Simmons was really the story of this game at the beginning. really allowing Kentucky to just stick around. They took a 10-0 lead. It's not looking good. A Kentucky team that beat Ole Miss last year, but the Ole Miss Rebels responded. In my opinion, another use of this story of the game for Ole Miss was the turnovers. They put them behind, but efficiency allowed them to come back. And I know that's kind of a simple explanation, maybe not the explanation you really want to hear, but I think it was as simple as just locking in, understanding what opportunity this is, who you're playing. You're coming into this game. Lane Kiffin talked about it, how this is a team that plays us really hard every single year, and we got to be ready for that. This is an SEC team, no matter what they've done in the past, no matter what their record says. Like, this is an SEC team that always play Ole Miss tough. It was the same exact thing we've seen in the past few years, especially since Lane Kiffin's been in Oxford. But they responded, and they really just completely took control of this game after the 10-0 lead. I think it was a 30-10, 30-13. That was the score of the game pretty much for the rest of the one. 30-10 run for Ole Miss after they found some points on the board. So, I mean, they just kind of completely took over. Now, one thing right now I'm seeing a lot of Austin Simmons, people are out on him. I think that's just I think you're jumping the gun there. I don't. Now, Austin Simmons, he did go down, but they said he looks good. He looks fine. He came back into the game and needed out at the end. It was a little scary, that injury, but he's just so young, and he's still just learning on the fly. The SEC is not an easy task. I know the turnovers have been an issue early on for him, but that's something he's going to learn. This guy's a pure athlete, one of the highly touted prospects coming out. I mean, and I think he's going on his master's already. I mean, this guy is smart. He understands football. Lane Kiffin talks about his IQ, his football IQ. Give him some time. Now, I know you don't got time in the SEC. You got to win games right now, but in my opinion, this is a player. Once we get into the end of the season, we're going to be talking about, hey, it was not perfect. It may not have been perfect. There were mistakes, but this is a player that we're going to be going into next season talking about as one of the better quarterbacks in the country, in my opinion. I'm on the Austin Simmons hype train. I have been since the beginning. I've really liked this guy, especially since coming in against Georgia last year. I like him. I don't think people need to jump ship right now on an Austin Simmons. All right, let's speed through now. We're going to go to our Jackson State Southern Miss game. Now, this was our in-state matchup of the weekend. It was a interesting game early on. Jackson State coming out here, they were trying their best to really, cause some issues. But that right there was just like, it's hard to respond. That block punt right there, that's how the game started for Southern Miss. That's how they got their first points on the board. The momentum in the Rock, wanting this first win under the Charles Huff era, it was going to be tough after that. I'm not going to lie. But they fought hard early on. It was only 17-10 at halftime. This was a close game. But it was kind of the parallel for Mississippi State in their first game, or Southern Miss against Mississippi State, where it's a close game early on, but the talent in just playing 60 minutes just caught up with them. It was a long game, and Southern Miss's talent really kind of just took over in that second half. It was pretty much all Golden Eagles. Now, this is the first loss for Jackson State, 11 games. I mean, this is a team that was riding high. I mean, they were on an incredible winning streak. How do they respond? I think they're going to be just fine. I think this is a great test for them as they head into their the rest of their schedule. A Southern Miss that's going to probably be the best defensive line you're facing. This is a good test, and after hearing what T.C. Taylor had to say after the game, I'm high on Jackson State bouncing back big time. He talked about how this is going to be motivation. We're not going to lose another game because of this. So I think Jackson State will be fine. For the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, you got to feel good. Like I said, first win under the Charles Huff era. This is a team that has been fighting to try and bring this football program back to relevance like it used to be. You got to be really impressed with Braylon Braxton. Obviously, we know what kind of player he is coming into the season, but he's performed pretty well so far, especially in this game. He finished with 214 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was 20 of 30 on passing, just great efficiency, and just really controlled the game. So I was really impressed with what I saw from Southern Miss and even Jackson State. That's not an easy game. Southern Miss, this is obviously a different Southern Miss team. We talked about their turnovers. So, but if you're asking me who I think, if they're going to be fine. I think both of these squads are going to be fine. I think this was a good game for both of them as they, progress into the season. Southern Miss getting that first win, getting that confidence up. Obviously, Jackson State using this as motivation. All right. How about some Saints? We're going to have to speed through this, y'all, but the Saints, this is a team coming into the season that everyone's down on. I've talked about how I'm a Saints fan on here. How are they going to come out? My biggest thing, does this look like an NFL team? Please tell me this looks like an NFL team. And it did. I think that's always what everyone talks about coming into a season in the NFL is, who's going to be bad? Who's going to be worst? Who's going to be the best? And these predictions are never right. These are the best of the best in the NFL, these players. And for the Saints, they came out in this one and it wasn't perfect, but you got to be encouraged from what you saw. Especially from Spencer Rattler, in my opinion. All this controversy at the quarterback position. Who's going to take the job? Spencer Rattler starts the first preseason game. Does that mean he's in the lead? Tyler Shuck comes into the second preseason game and he's starting. Does that mean he's the starter? Everyone's making all these questions. Obviously, Spencer Rattler gets the nod. And, biggest thing I saw is efficiency. I've said that word a lot on this show so far, but that was what you want to see from a guy that, coming into his second year and he's deemed a vet. Like I use quotes, vet, like he's a second year player and people are calling him a vet. And that's because of his mentality. I hear Cam Jordan talking, Alvin Kamara talking. They are bought in on Spencer Rattler trying to lead this team. And at the end, they had an opportunity that in the NFL, you really just asked for a chance. They had a chance. It was going to be a tough catch for Juwan Johnson. He has to come. There he is right there getting taken down, but that wasn't the play at the end, obviously. Juwan Johnson's got to make that catch. Everyone knows that. But Juwan Johnson was one of the better players for the Saints in this game. People might not realize that. He led the team in receptions. He had a great game. It was Spencer Rattler's favorite target. So you can't put everything on him on this one. But as a Saints fan, and I think for fellow Saints fans, you got to walk away in this game saying, all right, we competed. And this Arizona Cardinals team is a team that has improved mightily since the last season. Obviously, we'll see as the season prolongs if that's going to be the case forever. But still, like I said, you got to be impressed with what you've seen from Spencer Rattler. And this is what he had to say heading into this week. Like, what are the things he wants to improve on?
Just third downs, continuing to extend with my legs. Thought there was a couple opportunities. We took one sack, and that was on me. Probably could have got down to AK with how much depth they got on like 3rd and 8. And then just thought situationally we were good. Obviously want to give us a shot on that last play of the game, extend a little bit on that one, and just continuing to work on accuracy. Thought decision-making was good. We protected the ball. Just execute the offense.
And that was Rattler pretty much talking about what he wants to kind of improve on. Obviously, it's a week-to-week league. How is he going to improve? Obviously, or looking ahead into this next matchup for the Saints as they take on the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, no one's giving the Saints a chance in this one. 49ers were one of the favorites, but there's some storylines that you may not realize coming into this game that could give the Saints obviously a little bit of a break. You never want to see players injured, but it is a part of the game right now. We just got news yesterday. George Kittle, their stud tight end for the 49ers, he is now on IR. He's going to miss the next 4 weeks. So Saints will not have to worry about him on the field. And then a Brock Purdy possibly out. I've been trying to get some more information on social media to see the validity of this. He is working an injury. Don't know if he's going to play. Obviously, that would be a massive break. You don't like to say that, but it would be in the Saints' favor if he does not come out there and play in this one. Obviously, they have a Mac Jones, if you don't know, as the backup. So they do have a very, very good backup of Mac Jones. He can run that Kyle Shanahan offense, I imagine, pretty well. That was a guy they actually looked at in the draft. I don't know if y'all remember the Trey Lance, Mac Jones draft. That was an interesting one. So the 49ers do have a good backup. Their backup tight end is also pretty well. I think he had a touchdown in their last game, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that. But how did the Saints look in this 49ers matchup? Go out there and compete. You got to be more effective in the deep ball. You got to look for the deep ball, in my opinion. You got to be more aggressive. Let Spencer Rattler throw the ball deep and try and find some opportunities, but you got to run the ball as well. That's the only way the deep ball is you can find the deep ball. Get it on the play action. I think they got to find a way to get Kendre Miller a little bit more involved in the run game as well. Love Alvin, but this Kendre Miller, young running back, would love to see him get more touches. All right, let's wrap this thing up, ladies and gentlemen. This is your game picks for the week. Here's just 4 of them so far. Our Mississippi teams, Arkansas taking on Ole Miss. This is an interesting matchup. Arkansas putting up 50 points in their first 2 games, but they're playing interesting competition, right? Ole Miss has already got an SEC win under their belt. Number 17, how do they come out here and respond? 7.5-point favorites. I'm going to say the Ole Miss Rebels come out here with a little bit more juice, and they're going to look really well in this game, and they're going to cover, I believe, as well. 61.5, that's a lot of points, but Ole Miss puts a lot of points on the board. But I got Ole Miss taking this one and covering. Alcorn State, Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State looking to go 3-0 here. Alcorn State is coming off of a loss last week, obviously. Mississippi State's talent is just on another level. I don't want to disrespect Alcorn State, but I think Mississippi State goes out there and handles their business pretty well. Jackson State, Tuskegee. This is an interesting one as well. How does Jackson State respond after their first loss? I think they come out with their heads on fire. I think that Jackson State is going to have a lot of juice. We're going to be out there. We're going to bring you highlights on Saturday. That one kicks off at 2 p.m. Give me Jackson State in that one. Appalachian State, Southern Miss. App State is a 2.5-point favorite. This is such an interesting matchup, in my opinion. I don't know. App State, they've looked pretty good so far. Southern Miss, their first opportunity in the conference. How did they look? Give me the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Give me the Southern Miss Golden Eagles in this one. I think they're going to get the win. All right, let's move on. Let's get to our last big picks in this one. These are the bigger games of the week. Georgia, Tennessee, game day. Number 6, Georgia. Number 15, Tennessee. I was kind of low on Tennessee coming into the season because they're a quarterback, but Aguilar looks really, really good. Give me Tennessee. I think they're going to win this one. I think they get the pull off the upset here. I know they haven't beat Georgia in a very, very long time. I know that. It's kind of hard for me to pick them, but I'm going to do it. Give me Tennessee. That one might backfire on me. All right. I'm already kind of second guessing that decision. Florida, number 3, LSU. LSU 7.5-point favorites, over under 47.5. LSU coming into this one after a kind of a shaky performance in week 2, excuse me. Florida coming off of a loss. They're going to come out real hot. I imagine LSU, though, they're going to win. Close game, though. Would not be surprised if Florida covers in this one. Texas A&M, number 16, Texas A&M. Notre Dame, number 8, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite. Texas A&M, this is a big test for them. Could have been game day if Notre Dame doesn't lose that first game. Give me Notre Dame and give me the cover. I don't know if I believe in this A&M team quite yet. South Florida, Miami. I'm so excited about this game. How real is this South Florida team? They are 17.5-point dogs. Miami looks good. Miami's defense is going to be the key in this game. I believe they're going to stop that South Florida offense pretty easily because what I saw so far from this Miami defense. So give me Miami, and they're not going to cover. Give me South Florida on the cover, though. All right, y'all. That's it. Thank y'all so much for joining. This has been a fun thing for me, and we're going to keep growing this as we go. But that's all. I'm Nathan Lee. This is Beyond the End Zone, episode 3. We'll see y'all next week.